All right, it's 5:30. We'll call this workshop to order. So who would like to start?
Well, you want to call the roll?
Do roll call on a workshop? Okay.
It's what's on the agenda.
Okay. We'll start out. I am present. Alderman Whalen.
Present.
Alderman Letchworth.
Present.
Alderwoman Dent.
Here.
Alderman Kinsey.
Present.
See city staff, we have Public Works Director Payne. Present. Finance Director Stacy Houston. Chief of Police Chase. Let's see, other city staff, we have City Clerk Culler. Present. Economic Director Sutterfield.
Here.
City Administrator Burbridge.
Present.
And that guy sitting next to you.
I'm also here.
All right. Roll call, check.
Okay. Okay, so I passed out to each of you a draft ordinance. It's not an ordinance format yet, but this is all the language so far for this draft ordinance to deal with vacant and abandoned properties, okay? Staff has met twice on this to go over different pieces of this. There are still a few questions. You'll see sections, and forgive me for the way it copied when you turn the page. I figured this is a workshop, so we're not going to be terribly formal about it. But again, the intent of the workshop tonight is that it is a back and forth conversation. You all ask us questions. We'll answer to the best of our ability. There are a few sections that I still need to get some legal input on. Okay. Specifically, and we'll get into this more when we kind of go through it, but specifically on who is the correct Board of Appeal? Does that go to the Board of Aldermen? Does it go to the Board of Adjustments, or does it go to the Building Commissioner? So we have all three that could potentially be the Board of Appeals, and I don't know, because I'm not the legal professional, which of those is the most appropriate in this situation. Okay, so that's a question I will work through with our attorney. And then we have highlighted, we wanted to pull down language from state statute about notifications if we send the letter and it comes back returned, okay, as non-deliverable. So those are two questions, and then we just have a minor question about, and probably we just need to put the fees here in this code. So those are outstanding questions that we have. Trying to think, what are some high points? So this ordinance, by starting through the definitions themselves, the definitions are very important with this ordinance. Especially as it pertains to vacant property. That's the last one on the first page. And so it defines what is a vacant property. And so you'll see those points, 1 and 2, and then 2 of the items under number 2, A through I. So it has to meet 2 of them in number 2 in order to be defined as a vacant property. And then it would be put on the registry, which is a new one that we've just added, a definition in that list. So that's the official list of those that are considered vacant and that would be fined regularly, okay? So if a property, number 1, like I said, has been unoccupied for at least 6 months and meets 2 of those other criteria. So you'll see those. So is unsecured.
Okay.
Okay. So we have the definition of secured up above there, what that means. Okay, where all entry points are closed with windows and doors that are intact, functional, and locked, or secured as required by this chapter. So otherwise properly boarded up with appropriate materials. Okay, so if it's unsecured, has fire damage, making it unsafe, is used for loitering or vagrancy, shows lack of upkeep with at least 1 code violation, has been boarded up for at least 90 days, has unpaid city property taxes for more than 1 year, has water and or electricity disconnected, is structurally unsound, or poses a hazard to the public or occupants. So if it meets 2 of the items in that list, plus has been unoccupied for the last 6 months, it's considered vacant, okay? And would be put on the registry and then fined accordingly, okay? What are some other highlights, Jared, that you think we should specifically pull out? So obviously it goes through the process.
A lot of it's just process and how we're going to do it, what those fees are going to look like, when we're going to charge those. I mean, I think the biggest high point here is what it is and what we're doing and why we're doing it, I guess. And that would be to try to reduce some of the vacant and dilapidated or I don't think that all the vacant buildings are probably dilapidated, but to promote occupancy, I guess, in a lot more of our structures, whether they're residential or commercial.
Yeah, the question came up yesterday at our most recent staff discussion about this. You know, what happens if there is a property that has been secured according to the code? And, you know, then what happens? Do they go back on the list? And it's like, well, not if that's the only issue. If a property has been properly secured, so there's no way that people can illegally enter it, you know what I mean? Short of truly breaking in. But if it's been properly secured per the code, and then it doesn't have, you know, the grass isn't left unmowed, and there's not trash, and there's not other nuisances, maybe unlicensed inoperable vehicles, or any of these other things on that list, it's going to have 2 of the additional things on that list to be considered vacant. So simply a boarded up property that is maintained and cared for would not incur a fee. Is that okay? So, but if we've got a burnout, so we talked about that, a burnout that's also boarded up, that they're not maintaining the yard, that right there's 3. Okay? Plus, they won't have utilities on that one. So that's going to be, you know, that's going to qualify them to be on this registry and be fined for the period that it's in that condition. Now, there's also another point that I want to point out to you. This is on the last page. And again, forgive me, it's upside down. Section 507060. So this is reuse and occupancy. So we have a building that's been on the vacant building registry for some time, and then all of a sudden we get a request in the utility office that somebody wants to turn utilities on, but they've been on this list. And so this covers this: a vacant property cannot be reoccupied or have utilities reconnected until it passes inspection and meets all codes.
Okay.
Okay? Because that is a question that has come up. We do have those situations that arise regularly.
Okay.
Okay? Questions that you all have for us?
I got one.
Okay?
When we talk about properties, it seems to all be structures. We're not talking about vacant lots.
This doesn't address vacant lots. This is structures.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a vacant lot would fall under the nuisance codes for weeds, trash, do you know what I mean, those types of things. And I know you all were just handed this. And again, this is workshop, and if we need to have more than one to address all the questions, and like I said, we do still have some legal questions I need to get with our attorney about, then that's okay, because we want to make sure we get this right.
Well, what would be the fees associated with this? So say they meet these requirements for the vagrancy or for the, you know, to be on this,
To be on the list, on the
to be on
registry?
the list, and so say you're going to find them, right? Because they'll have to do something to get their attention.
Right.
What does that look like? Is that,
It's
is that a
200
monthly reoccurring fee?
It's $200 every 6 months, is how it's written currently.
And you took that, I guess, I'm assuming you found other
Yes.
cities where they've
Yes,
done
this
it.
is modeled on one from another fourth-class city, same as we are, yes. And so it's, right now, it's $200 every 6 months. When they are first notified, and so it kind of takes it step by step, when they first receive their notice that, hey, your building has been found to be vacant and is set to be put on the registry, they have 30 days to either ask the inspector, so they would start with the code officer, okay? And so that could be Jared as building inspector, or it could be Eric as code officer, depending on the violation.
Okay.
Okay, because
Yeah.
some of these involve structural issues, some of them are more nuisance. So that will depend on who addresses it. And Eric has been part of these conversations as well. And so, first, so they've got 30 days from notification to either ask for a reinspection, alleviate the issues, or, well, those are the two options, alleviate the issues or ask for reinspection if they disagree. If they then disagree with that, if the code officer reinspects and still says you're in violation, okay, then fees start accruing at day 31. Okay, they start accruing. But the owner has the option to appeal, and here we go to the Board of Aldermen, or whoever that appropriate body is. They have that option to appeal, okay? If the board or the appeal body says, no, you're still in violation, you need to fix this, and they want to appeal, then it would be to circuit court. Okay, so, but for the city, that board or that appeal entity would be the final say. So they do have options to appeal it or address it. But again, while it's in appeal, those fees start accruing on day 31, and then if their appeal is successful and the appeal body says, no, I think you're right, this isn't in violation, then those fees are waived, okay? If the appeal is not successful and it continues moving forward, then they're assessed those fines for every day, like I said, starting with day 31.
My question is, there's a possibility that we could have a whole bunch of vacant buildings that are boarded up, by the way this reads,
There is.
which is not aesthetically pleasing.
It's not, but it's better than them being open to the weather.
True.
And so that's the alternative.
And the problem with being open to the weather, we're also open to animals,
And it'll continue to grade.
and that starts to be a problem in the neighborhood, you know, especially people that live in right next door. So, not ideal, but
And it's not like, is there anything else that can be done other than having like thousands of boarded up buildings in Salem?
So there, in some larger cities, they use another material which is clear and see-through, so it doesn't have that same boarded up look. It's more costly.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's,
Till we can.
I mean, you
Could we
can.
pass the cost on to the,
Well,
property
and
owner?
that's the thing, you know, do we, and we haven't really talked about that, do we step in and board it up at some point? That's not in this code.
I thought it was.
Sally,
Is it
say that
mentioned?
again for me. Do we,
Do we step in and board it up at a certain point? Is it in here?
I thought that was. And maybe I'm thinking of another draft, a
I
previous
don't-
draft.
I didn't see that in here.
Yeah, I don't think it's in here.
I think it'd have to be put in there at some point if they continue to be in violation.
At what point? I
At what
mean,
point, and that I don't know, and that's why I was asking about the fines, because is $250, is that enough of a fine to deter that from happening, or,
right.
you know,
I
and
don't
that's
know,
why I
and
was
that's-
asking where you
right.
got the numbers from. 'Cause
Right.
I just
Again,
wasn't
from another
sure.
city. So it's $200 every 6 months. From the point when they're notified, it is prorated for that first 6 months. And then there's a $25 fee, like if they don't pay. So we send that bill at the end of that first 6 months, and we send the bill. If they don't pay in 30 days, there's a $25 fee per month.
I think the fee probably needs to be higher.
Okay, what do we think?
I'd like to see a percentage of what it's valued as.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
know, that might be, but, yeah, I do think the 250 is probably not high enough, because you need something to deter, oh, if I continue in this action, it's, you
Right.
know, gonna cost me. Because we've got lots and lots of vacant properties, and the list to where to begin is.
Right.
I wouldn't even know where to start, so.
Well, I need a number thrown out.
yeah. I think it probably should be somewhere around $500. That's my guess.
Say that.
Okay, so 500 every 6 months?
At least. At the very least, I think.
Well,
can we not like do okay, so you're gonna start it every 6 months, okay?
that's when they'll be billed.
Okay, so
Would
that's
be
when
every
they'll be
6
billed.
months.
All right. Is there a way that when you start at first 6 months, that we could bill them every month to to let them know that we're kind of serious about this? Because if you're billing every 6 months, I mean, some people are willing just to pay the fine, you know?
I mean, that happens now all the time.
Well, I'm just saying that
Right.
I would prefer to address it if you're gonna do 6 months, and then therefore after every 30 days, that you reoccur a certain cost.
It's $25.
So is it,
But-
huh?
It's 25 after, if they don't do something with that, then
It's $25 a
A
month,
month after.
as
the-
written currently,
Yeah.
And
if they
then-
don't pay it. Okay, I'm just throwing something out. Is it $100 a month, which would be 600 every 6 months, 1,200 a year if they're not addressing the issues? I don't know, I'm just throwing numbers out to
Yeah.
see.
No, I'm not,
I'm just trying to be a little bit more aggressive because some of the people in the past, they've paid their fines and they just keep leaving these derelict buildings like this. And I just want them to know that if we're going to institute something new, that we're going to be a little bit more serious about this, especially when
Agree.
it comes to the fines.
I want,
And then something else that I didn't see in here, some of the property owners live outside of state. Is there any way that we could add, it's probably a legal question, to add those added costs for tracking them down?
Well, we start with the same procedure of, we mail the notice to the address on record.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, that's why we wanted to insert some language from state statute about notification if that mail comes back to us. You know, and that might look like, in some instances, and I don't want to, please don't quote me on this, but, you know, in some instances, that language talks about notice in the paper for so many days before we can take action, and that's considered legal notice. So, I mean, that's why we wanted to reference state statute, and I just haven't had a chance to look that up since our last discussion. So, because that gives us some alternate ways.
Yeah, because I'm sure I'm not the only member sitting here at this table that's been continuously approached by the public about
Right.
and being a little bit more aggressive about condemnation and making people accountable for these derelict buildings,
Right.
because it ruins their property value. It makes their neighborhoods look junky, so I just like to see us be a little bit more aggressive.
Answer
As
to-
far as like fines, I mean,
So, again, I need a number.
So is it feasible to do the $100 a month, doing it that way instead of billing out over the 6 months, doing $100 a month?
I mean, potentially, then it comes to a manpower issue also, because this will happen through the clerk's office. And again, if we're doing monthly billings, that's not something the clerk's office really does right now. Right? No. Right. I mean, the clerk's office bills for business licenses once a year, and then airport hangars once a year. I mean, so the billing the clerk's office does is that kind of schedule, so.
So is the number I heard of homes that were emptied or didn't reply, is that 400? Does that sound right? Is that, I heard this number and I don't know that that's
Empty or didn't
accurate.
reply to what?
To like the serve line stuff and things like that,
Oh.
or the,
Oh, as far as like the lead service lines? Yeah, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that they're vacant. That's
okay,
just the owners
that was
didn't
the number
bother, or
I'd
the
heard, and I'm like,
tenants
and that
didn't bother.
That seems really high. so
Right,
That doesn't seem right to me.
I bet it is.
Now, I mean, we've had some guests, individuals who've done windshield surveys of the town who had, in their opinion, because this is an individual, a private individual, that we probably have, at one point, we had over 100 homes. But I don't know that it's that now, because that was prior to us doing the first round of the demolition program and all of the house flipping that was going on during COVID, the work that the housing authority's done on flipping houses. So there was I know there were 40 to 45 homes that were either rehabbed, tore down, you know, or addressed in some fashion during that period. So I don't know what that number is right now.
It's significantly less than it was even a
Right.
couple of years ago.
But this addresses not just residences, but it also addresses,
Commercial.
okay.
And answer to the question a while ago about does the city board up, that's section 507.4 or 040 on the
Owners
Third
duty
page.
maintain?
first, second front page, under letter
Oh,
A.
okay, there we go.
I knew I'd seen that someplace.
So vacant properties must be secured within 10 days of an order from the code official. If not, the city may secure it after notice and a hearing, then bill the owner. So we don't have that hearing process defined. We haven't discussed that.
Right.
So, yeah, costs may become a lien and personal debt. So that would be along with the fines as well. But again, if we step in and secure it, then there's no fine unless it meets multiple of those other criteria.
I think that's where the fine, and for securing, if the city takes that on, then I think then you have to also pass those costs on.
Right.
And you have to make it to where
Right.
it's like, if we're doing this, it's going to cost you
Absolutely.
substantial.
Absolutely. Now, and I want to be upfront also. Where is it? So we have the fees. When we talk about, where's the section that talks about how we collect? Why do I not see that in here?
This is kind of a summary though, isn't it?
It is,
You want this?
sure,
Would that help?
yep. So forgive me, I thought that was all in that, what I handed out there to you also. We have, so in actions to recover, and I don't know why it didn't make it through to your document, we have laid out, and there could be some difficulties with this, okay? These are some of the additional questions I have for James. So action to recover, so in addition to any other penalties provided by law, the city may initiate and pursue an action in a court of competent jurisdiction to recover any unpaid fees, interest, and penalties from any person liable therefor. In addition, may recover the cost of such action, including reasonable attorney fees. So that could be the securing of the property. It could be the fees for every 6 months. We can put a lien on the property, okay, for any undue amounts. Now, if we put a lien on, we may not collect that until if and when the property sells. Okay? The individual is not able to obtain any permits from the city until they address these. So if they're doing any other projects in the city, they're not able to get permits for that until they address these issues. Okay. Yeah, no city license or permit, so that could be business licenses as well, the way this is written, of any kind until such delinquency has been satisfied. Foreclosure, so registration fees which are delinquent for a period of 3 years shall be subject to foreclosure proceedings in the same manner as delinquent real property taxes. Okay. And then sale upon property. Upon bona fide sale of the property to an unrelated party, the lien on such property for the registration fees shall be considered released and the delinquent registration fee forgiven. So we have those options. We can do sales of the property similar to what the county does for their delinquent property taxes. And I don't know if you noticed, delinquent property taxes for the city of more than 1 year could be one of the criteria to consider it vacant. So,
I'd probably recommend we hold another workshop to give the board a little bit more time to kind of
right,
get to see where we can set some of these rates at to make
right.
it.
And that's my one concern about doing more than the 200, is we need to check state statute about what we can
Yeah,
assess those at.
yeah, I've seen a lot of cities do the lien on the properties.
Right. And like I said, that means we're not collecting right away.
No.
But if and when it sells, then we would collect. So, but I think again, I think the bigger thing to keep in mind here, no, I don't want to have a whole bunch of money tied up in all these vacant properties that we just have sitting out there. But at the same time, I think the thing we have to keep in mind is the longer term, working at cleaning up, beautifying our community, you know, and what steps do we need to take to do that, to keep that goal in mind. So, okay, so we'll go ahead and conclude this and give us a few minutes, if that's okay, Mayor.
Yes.
Get our table set back and give everybody time to reset for the meeting. And then during my report, I'll ask about maybe a date for a follow-up workshop. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.